You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Bold and the Beautiful fans, we have got Taylor Hayes, newly single, and official spoilers say that she's going to get a new man, and that's good because it looks like Ridge Forrester has a brand new wife by the end of this week who is one of his old wives. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about the man who could be Taylor's new love and her big rebound that is going to help her get over Ridge now that he has betrayed Taylor yet again. But first, please click that subscribe if you're not already following us. So what's insane this week on Bold and the Beautiful is we saw Ridge break off his engagement to Taylor, and then he ran right over to Forrester Creations and immediately proposed to Brooke. Lucky for her, there was a tray of expensive jewelry sitting there, and Ridge grabbed up a huge sparkling diamond, put it right onto Brooke's finger. And then when Carter strolled into the room, Ridge asked him to officiate a wedding on the spot. Unless they're interrupted, it legit looks like Brooke and Ridge go from broken up to engaged to happily hitched in a matter of moments on Bold and the Beautiful. Taylor is already crushed, so for her to find out Ridge ran over there and said vows with Brooke is going to be absolutely horrifying to her. And of course, Thomas is upset that Taylor is heartbroken thanks to Brooke and Ridge, but Taylor has vowed that she will not run off and leave LA no matter how dirty that Ridge has done her. And he's done her pretty dirty this time. Official fall spoilers confirm that the end of Taylor and Ridge's relationship is going to send Taylor off in a new direction with somebody else. Bold and the Beautiful is hoping that fans will embrace this new start for Taylor. As for me, I'm excited. I think it's refreshing. I'm here for it. I never wanted Taylor back with Ridge because I knew he couldn't quit Brooke, and the back and forth that Ridge does between Taylor and Brooke is absolutely just awful to me. So Taylor getting a new man will be amazing, but who's it going to be? Now, the first person to consider as a romantic prospect is somebody who's on the screen right now, and that's Dollar Bill Spencer. And yeah, Taylor shot him a few years ago, but what's a bullet in the back against the prospect of new love, you know? Bill has been single for quite a while. He definitely needs a woman. He had that awful thing with Poppy and then that really creepy thing where Luna was trying to hook up with him. Plus, even though Ridge is happy with Brooke and apparently remarried this week, I think it would drive him nuts if Taylor wound up in Bill Spencer's arms because Ridge despises Bill. Now, I'm sure that Ridge being upset would also be a big bonus for Taylor, and I do think she and Bill could be fun together. However, other spoilers say that Will and Luna and that whole crisis are going to bring Katie and Bill closer, and they may feel sparks. So I feel like Taylor getting with Bill and them having a romance might be a long shot based on these Katie spoilers. But another person to consider who is a good age for her and I think would be a good prospect currently still on screen is Deacon Sharp, because he may fully just dump Sheila after he finds out she's been helping hide her not dead psycho granddaughter Luna, who murdered two of his best friends. Deacon is going to be furious once he finds out Luna is alive and that Sheila has been lying to his face for quite some time. Plus, Deacon already let it slide once when Sheila was lying about having contact with Luna when she was sneaking around with her right before she went on the shooting spree. But now Sheila is lying again, and it might push Deacon over the edge. If so, he'd be single. He might be looking for a rebound. Maybe he ends up with Taylor. And of course, the idea of Deacon being with Taylor comes with the bonus that it might drive Brooke nuts if Taylor was romancing Brooke's ex-husband, because Deacon is one of the few men that Brooke's been with who hasn't also hooked up with Taylor. So it could happen. Somebody else who's on the scene right now that we have got to talk about is Carter Walton. Yes, he's engaged to Hope right now, but Carter may end up single soon because Hope is torn between Liam and Carter. So if Hope breaks off their engagement, well, Carter might be looking for a rebound. But again, I think he would be a long shot to be Taylor's new romance because Daphne Rose is already ready, willing, and barely waiting for Carter to lose hope so that Daphne can get her sweet-smelling hands all over him. Now, let's talk about somebody who is off screen, but who would be amazing to come back and romance Taylor, and that is Thorne Forrester. You know, Taylor and Thorne dated on and off starting in the late 1990s, and Taylor first got with Thorne after finding out Ridge, who was her fiance at the time, had tried to break up Brooke's wedding to Grant Chambers, and Taylor was furious, and she called off her wedding to Ridge. Then Taylor got drunk, and she fell down, and her house caught on fire, and Thorne showed up and saved her life. After that, they became friends, but then Thorne fell in love with Taylor. Unfortunately, she was still in love with Ridge. But of course, Ridge was running back to Brooke. So eventually, Taylor and Thorne were dating, but it never lasted because Taylor's heart always belonged to Ridge. And ultimately, Taylor always wound up going back with him, and Thorne just couldn't deal with it. This time would be different because Brooke and Ridge are getting married almost instantly, and I don't think Taylor would ever be with Ridge again. I hope she wouldn't. I hope she would have finally learned her lesson because she cannot ever trust Ridge to stay away from Brooke. So maybe Thorne returns and he and Taylor get a new shot at romance. The last one I want to talk about, and then there's an honorable mention I want to make, but the last one I really want to talk about that I think would be great to return would be Rick Forrester. I think it'd be great to have Jacob Young back or even another actor in the role. You know, Rick once dated Taylor's now dead daughter, Phoebe, who of course is Steffi's twin sister. And Phoebe had broken up with Rick and left LA. And that was at the same time that Taylor and Nick Maroney had just broken up. So Taylor was depressed and Rick was upset. And then we got that two-way rebound and Taylor and Rick wound up falling in love. But then Phoebe came back looking to get with Rick and was horrified to find out he had moved on with her mom, Taylor. Plus, Rick's mom, Brooke, was furious that Rick was with Taylor because she's Brooke's worst enemy and chief rival. And eventually, Phoebe did give Taylor and Rick her blessing, but then they wound up breaking up anyway. And as you know, Phoebe ultimately passed away. That was a long time ago. But if Rick came back to LA, you know, I could see him and Taylor sparking again. And the bottom line is there's just not a lot of eligible bachelors on the character canvas for Taylor to find this new romance with that we have been promised. Now, there is somebody who is off screen who I would love to have back on screen to date Taylor, and it's somebody she's never been with, somebody that Brooke has never been with, and that's important. I think it would be absolutely a game changer if they brought back Jack Finnegan to date Taylor. I love Ted King. I would love to have him back. I think it would be phenomenal.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.